seriously fast, ultra luxurious, and a monster price tag. For 70 years, BMW has produced some of the best cars in the world. Now, they're putting their reputation on the line, betting millions on a brand new sports car. For the first time ever, go behind the scenes where no one has gone before. From design studios in California to test tracks around the world. Inside the world's most secretive sports car building process. Buckle up. It's a very bumpy road, and it all starts with the design. The automobile industry is one of the most intensely competitive in the world. Building a new car is a multi-million-dollar gamble. Secrets are closely guarded. Access to the process is rarely ever granted. For the first time, a major automobile company is letting the Discovery Channel go along for the ride. BMW has decided to produce an entirely new sports car based on one of its most impressive lines, the so-called 6 Series. BMW wants a coupe to compete against the top-line Mercedes and Jaguars. A car that will have a price tag of $100,000. It's an expensive gamble, an idea the company has been struggling with for years.
Coupe means to be cut, to be shortened. And they always took limousines and shortened the sport limousines and shortened them into coupes, somehow the upper, a little bit like that. So they really, for years, the whole design team struggled with the idea, how do you really make a big coupe? And then came the time where we needed to prepare the 7 Series for its launch, and we wanted to use this chance to put a concept car out there. So we decided we'll make a concept car, and we started to make one derived from a 7 Series. And as the car began to come together, it was pretty clear that this concept car had all the DNA to be the real coupe, the one we were looking for.
Years before any car is made, before the first piece of metal is cut, it has to be designed. Decisions made with paint on paper will one day be seen on highways around the world. Chris Bangle heads the design team for BMW's new car, codenamed the E63. He'll need to push his designers hard. A new car is an enormous risk for BMW. Bangle holds an internal competition, pitting his designers against each other. He'll choose the best concept for the interior and exterior.
At the creation, that's when the team is at their hottest. That's when the designers are in full competition. That's when the development possibilities, there's still lots of things open. You're not really sure how it's going to go this way or the other way. And so the blood runs at its hottest then.
He hopes the competition will help BMW keep up with the rest of the world. It's a crowded market. Once a year on the shores of Lake Como in northern Italy, the past and the future of the automobile meet. It's called the Concorso d'Eleganza. It's a beauty contest which brings together the classics of yesterday and the concept cars of tomorrow. It's also a reminder of just how competitive the auto industry is.
What I like about this is I get the connection to the culture that is the basis for the job that I and my team are doing today. And I mean, we stand on the shoulders of giants of design, and their work is here. You see it, you enjoy it, you can feel it. And if when coming to a place like Villa d'Este, one has a chance to make contact with that and begin to breathe and sense its aliveness, how valid it is today, then for me, I think we can understand better how to keep that alive for our cars for tomorrow.
For BMW, one classic design element remains constant, the double kidney-shaped grille. It says BMW, the way the Eiffel Tower says Paris. For designers, the job is to breathe new life into this and other classic features.
Well, that's just the start of it. Then we have to work just as well with the engineers who have to actually make this car in production. And I guess bringing a car into the world is like bringing a baby into a world. You know, a man can't do it alone, a woman can't do it alone. You need both of them. And if they do it with a lot of love, it works a lot better.
California, a world away from BMW headquarters in Munich. Adrian van Hooijdonk has won the competition to design the car's exterior. He's from Holland, but loves the attitude of California.
I think for a designer, traveling is important. Working and living in different cultures is a good thing. I think California is a place where designers can feel free. There's a strong car culture here. Everybody needs a car, everybody likes cars. And cars are also a necessity here. To get around in Los Angeles, you do need a car. And cars here means freedom. It means freedom to go where you want to go. Here, the car is definitely number one. The 6 Series was a super exciting project to work on.
The winner of the interior design competition is Dave Karp. In his free time, he plays in an orchestra, and music plays an important role in his life.
I wanted to be a car designer since I was 10 years old, but I've been playing the violin since I was 5 years old. And ever since then, the two have been able to live together really happily. Chris Bangle once told me he thought my car design forms were influenced by the forms in a violin. I believe he was talking about the way these broad surfaces are held in tension by these strong edges. For example, on this door, some of the contours, the way broad curved surfaces seem to be held in check by strong edges, well, you might say that this design language comes from a violin, who knows? I think I need the music to support my design life, and my design life supports my musical life.
For both Karp and van Hooijdonk, winning the internal competition is a professional highlight. It was a bruising contest.
And that's very emotional. It's emotional for the winner. It's emotional for me, also for the losers, because we have those as well, you know. A choice means somebody wins and somebody loses. That's tough.
For Karp, the glow of victory won't last long. The design he won with will look very different when it actually takes to the road. Designers and engineers don't always agree. A lesson Karp is about to learn the hard way. BMW's Research and Engineering Center. Here in Munich, 8,000 engineers, technicians, and designers are working on a brand new vehicle. Codenamed the E63. It's a new sports car. Millions of dollars are at stake. One of the first steps in the complex process of making the car is to create what's known as the package plan. It's the Bible for the new car. These are the basic guidelines which designers and builders must obey. Even the smallest alteration must be recorded. There are still many changes to come, but the car is taking shape. Michael Stammer is the engineer who runs the entire project. The stakes are high, the pressure on him enormous.
You could compare it with an orchestra conductor. He may not be the best violinist or harpist, but he still tries to get the many specialists in his orchestra to play together and play well.
The package plan helps pull the designers back to earth. Dave Karp, who designed the interior, needs to know what's possible.
In the beginning, a designer has a dream. The designer works with a lot of feelings that have maybe been building up inside his head from even before the start of the project, and tries to bring them together, to marry them with all these wishes from the other people on the team. Once I got the idea worked out on paper, at least the concept of it, and had proven it out in 2 dimensions, it was time to combine the idea with the packaging, the engineering. We started with this model, which shows the basic idea. Still had a lot of work to be done. A few months later, it had progressed to this model. This was reworked once again, each time changing but keeping the same theme, and always looking for harmony, forms which work together. Until finally, we ended with this model, which met as many of our engineering specifications and my design wishes as were possible.
Scale models of certain parts of the car are made early on. Dave Karp wants the central section of the console to be slim and elegant. The engineers want it big, so they can fit in lots of controls and room for storage.
My goal today is to be able to keep as much of our design surface as we originally planned. Unfortunately, it looks like we may have to give up some of this area in order to create space for a telephone. And I'm sure we'll find a good solution, but there's a danger that the solution will only be optimal and not perfect.
In order to make sure that designers and engineers are speaking the same language, they have a mediator helping them, the design engineer, Jürgen Stennel.
The relationship with the designer has to be one of complete trust. Dave Karp once said, "I'm his design attorney." And maybe that's why the interior of our car turned out so well. We simply understand each other well and supplement each other's skills. There's a synergy there, or a symbiosis.
It's a give and take. What's possible on the inside and outside of the car depends on what the engineers can achieve. A vision isn't worth the paper it's written on if it can't be brought to life.
Ja, okay, das macht eigentlich Sinn. Genau. 94. 94!
What's true for the interior is also true for the car's exterior.
The days are over that the designer can just do a design and then the engineers has to figure it out. We now produce and develop cars in 3 years' time. That's very fast. And we can only do that when we, as designers, communicate with the engineers early. Car design is industrial design, so we have to solve many problems. It has to be structurally sound. We have to fulfill regulations in terms of crash resistance and aerodynamics and fuel consumption. But that's normal. Still, that doesn't make my job a boring one. Actually, that is the challenge, and I love it.
The marriage of concept and engineering has produced a virtual model of the car. Down to the smallest detail, this is the new E63. It can be examined now on the computer. Everyone on the project can see exactly how the individual parts look and get a sense of how the overall car is coming together. More traditional technology is also being used. Dave Karp checks his designs of the car's interior using full-scale tape drawings.
I'm making what's known as a tape drawing. It's called a tape drawing because it is made with these black tapes, which help us find the proportions of a design. The nice thing about using tape is that you can change your lines, and as you might have noticed, the tapes come in different thicknesses. Each thickness of tape has a different kind of tension. For a really long line, a thicker tape will give a straighter line than a thinner tape.
A full-scale tape drawing is also made of the exterior. But to get a good sense of the look of the new car, more is needed. A full-size model is now being built.